Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I feel absolutely amazing. Let me just tell you a little something about me that you may or may not know. I am a huge connector to the moon. I love the moon. When the sun is out, I am the happiest. When I can just sit in the sun, I don't have to be on a beach. I could be in a room with windows, and just sitting there in front of the sun is my happy place. I'd rather be outside with wind and grass and nature, but nonetheless, I am still extremely content with being in the sun, and the moon is the opposite of the sun. So it is a full moon, or it was a full moon yesterday, which technically it's a full moon or full moon energy for about 72 hours, 24 hours before the full moon, and then 24 hours after the full moon. And it's just a magical feeling for me. And I took a bath last night, not a shower, because I do that every day, but a bath, like in a tub, bathe and soak and loved on myself. I just love me. I love me. Shout out to the moon worshipers. Shout out to the moon seed, star childs, all of us. I feel good. I'm really excited about today's interview because we are talking with the Divine Nine. The North doesn't know much about the Divine Nine. The North knows very little about when it comes to anything sorority, fraternity, especially Black Greek. We know very little to nothing when it comes to Black Greek, but we gonna learn today, and it's an energy that is indescribable. If you've ever been to a Patriots game, if you've ever been to a Celtics game, it's that same type of vibe, that same type of feeling where you just feel connected, and it's culture. Like, it literally is our culture. It has been long standing within us a lot. We'll get to it at 11:30 when we bring the guest in, but I'm super excited. I'm excited because I had my bath last night. I loved on myself. I soaked in the tub. I'm excited for the guest today. I'm excited because today's Thursday. That means Spark FM is having our 222 event. We have an event at 222. Today is just a good day, a great day to have a good day. How y'all feel today? How do you feel? What's going on, The Truth? How you feeling today? You feeling good? We're working. Somebody hit me up earlier and was like, Tayla, we want to call in. I want you to call in. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I want to give a huge shout out. Who are the winners? What's the winners? Steve was one of the winners. He took a screenshot. Yesterday, I told y'all I will give away 5 people, the first 5 people that screenshotted their downloads of Spark FM online, and you can download it on the app, on iTunes, you can download it on Android, and download the app, take a screenshot of you downloading it, send it to me via any social media, and I will give you any free item on my website. So whether you want the digital copy of the book, the physical copy of the book. Today, I am wearing the Awakening My Third Eye. Yesterday, I was wearing Soul Naked. And so whichever shirt you want, you can have. And we got our 5 winners. So we have 5 new downloads. I'm super excited. So how about today? I'll give away 3 more. If you download the app today, you send it to me, any means of social media, or Tayla, I don't do social media. You can go ahead and email it to me, TaylaMadeMedia@gmail.com. Giveaway, whatever you want, baby. So you download the app, you take a screenshot of the app, you send it to me via social media. 3 people today, and I'll give you what you want. Tell me what you want. As far as the news is concerned, I know that the news is so disheartening. I can't tell you, I go out of my way to find exciting news, and it is so difficult. The news is filled with so much BS, so much sadness, so much grief, So I need y'all to help me. If you find anything inspiring, if you find anything worthwhile sharing, please share with me. It's Tayla Made Media or any forms of social media because TaylaMadeMedia@gmail.com because I'm tired of this. It is draining. It is physically, emotionally, spiritually draining to continuously talk about all of this nonsense that's going on. So I do want to share some good news. A $5,000 grant for woman-owned restaurants. Who do you know that owns a female-owned restaurant? So Mattapan Square Main Street is a volunteer-driven community-based organization working to attract and enhance public and private investments in the commercial district and foster community spirit and collaboration in Mattapan. Boston's cultural getaway. For those that are listening, I just did a massive side eye, and that's because Roxbury is considered the new downtown. They will say everything but Roxbury. They'll be like, oh, come visit the new downtown, right overlooking the city. You get to have the skyline in your backyard, but they don't tell you that you finna have some drug addicts shooting up in your front yard. They don't tell you you finna have, like, it's a problem. It really is a problem. Rents are a problem. Right now, 3 bedrooms are going for $3,000 for a 3-bedroom. Hold on. Because you know my math sucks, right? So 3 times 12 is 60, correct? 3 times 3,000. Times 12, 1, 2, 3, $36,000 a year. $36,000 a year. Oh, I was thinking 3 times 5. So at $36,000 a year, that's how much you have to make to just only pay your rent. And then you take into taxes, like 1/3 of $36,000 goes to taxes. You now can't even pay your rent. So if 36,000, because you're only supposed to be paying 30% of your income towards rent. Technically, you're supposed to pay 30% of your income is supposed to be for housing. And so 36, you have to make $108,000 a year in order to afford a 3-bedroom apartment in Boston. These issues and these problems were 5+ years ago why I became a real estate agent, because I did not understand what the hell was going on and why this was a real thing and how this could be. And so wages have not increased. And what people get, like a 5%? You're getting a bonus of 5%. The hell is 5% of $30,000? You know I'm slow, so we about to do this. 5% of 30. That's $1,500 for the year. Let's say you get, we won't even do that. So that $1,500 for the year divided by 12 is $125 a month, which is around $25 a paycheck. At 5%, and people be excited for that 5% bonus, for that $2,500, $1,500 a year, for that $125 a month, for that 25. Like, if y'all don't take into account the skills that you were born with, the inherent skills that you were born with the talents that God gave you. I know. So we had a conversation yesterday with Daddy about, the Bible, and I had questions about the Bible. My daddy is not a theologist, but he is, God-centered. And so I asked questions. He was giving answers based on his belief. And in the Bible, I am not a front-to-back reader, but I do know it talks about God giving you talents. And if God gives you talent, like the parable is, if your master gives you 2 talents, your master gives you 5 talents, and your master gives you 10 talents. The one that had 2 talents went ahead and buried it in the sand. When the master came back, he gave to him the 2 talents back. And he was like, yo, what are you doing? You didn't do nothing with the talent that I gave you. The other one had the 5 talents, made it into 10 talents. The other one had 10 talents and made it into 20 talents. Moral of the story is, when God blesses you with a talent and you want to go get a job, you going to meet your maker. He going to be like, I gave you talent to multiply yourself. You just going to give me back what I gave you? I don't know. That was my interpretation of the... I could be 100% wrong. I don't know, okay? But what I do know is there are people out here that are amazing with their hands, that can create, that can cook their ass off, that can, we got the Spark FM online, like this right here. I can't do that. What? You want to know what that shit would look like? That would look like a stick figure. It would be Spark with like with a match that would look like a stick figure. I am not talented with my hands at all. That's why my mouth works so well. Pause. Today ain't Friday. But I feel, sometimes I feel like I don't have a talent. I really do. Because I'm not a great writer. My writing sucks. Though I may be a poet at times and I can like play with words, I cannot construct in college, I needed an editor and I wrote my papers, and then the editor was like, red, fix all of this, bring it back, red. I swear I worked throughout college to pay for my editor. And then I still got C's. I am not an excellent writer. I am not an excellent cook. When it comes to my uncle and when it comes to my cousin, and even my dad is a really good cook. Some people they don't need a measuring cup. They don't need instructions. They just stand in front of a stove and open cabinets, and out comes this amazing meal. That's not me. Some people can, like Faith Naturals, the fact that Faith can go to sleep and wake up and come out with a new product, how did you know to put that in there? I don't know. I went to sleep, woke up, and was like, I wonder if I can do this. And it came out good. And now your eczema is gone. Went to sleep, woke up, was like, what if I put these products together? Now you no longer have BV. It's like, it's crazy. People have talents that I don't have. Artists, writers, singers, songwriters, producers can make a beat on cue. Like all of these people that have all of these amazing talents, people that are able to connect with everyone and have relationships with everyone and be that intermediator. And, I don't think I have one of those talents that God gave everybody. And so if you have a talent, like going through the numbers that we just went through, if you have a talent, why the hell would you waste your time, energy, and life going to somebody else's building and building their dream? Build your dream, baby. Whatever it is that you're good at. If you're a bomb-ass DJ, then be a bomb-ass DJ. If you can come out with dope designs and make t-shirts, then do that. Whatever your talent is, whatever your gift is, utilize what your God-given talent is and make money for yourself, because $36,000 a year is what it takes to have a 3-bedroom in the city of Boston. That's how much you pay for the year. $36,000 at $3,000 a month, because that is what Section 8 is paying for a 3-bedroom right now, and market rent is above what Section 8 is paying. And I feel like, I'm like, am I broke? Because these are not numbers that are familiar with me. I'm like, that is a very foreign number. We know that 50% of Bostonians make under $30,000 a year. This is why nobody can live in the city no more. People are just naturally healthcare professionals. People are like, whatever your natural ability is, baby, invest in you. How much time have you invested in an employer? And I know when it comes to West Indians, I'm blessed to have a family that no matter what it is that I do, I was selling sex toys and had my auntie giving me referrals. Like I could be selling pom pom on the side of the street, and my cousin's gonna be like, "Hey, yo, my cousin over here, dude." Like I have the greatest freaking support system. Period. No matter what I do, they support me. But I do understand with a lot of West Indian cultures, with a lot of like African cultures, it's like, nah. What you're going to do is you're going to be a nurse. Go to school and be a nurse. You can never lose a job. Like, you're guided and steered to what your profession is instead of your parents investing in you and believing that you can do anything. I can do anything. Yeah. I love my hair. I like my haircuts. I love my, not all parents invest in their children. And so sometimes you have to go out and be that prodigal child and do what your heart desires and come back home and say, look, Daddy, I did it. Unfortunately, I may have had to do it without you, but this is what I did, and my heart is full. And so I tell all of my friends this all of the time. You came into this world by yourself, even if you're a twin, unless you're a conjoined twin. You came into this earth by yourself. When you came out that canal, when you came out that C-section, it was you by your lonesome. When you go in that casket, even if two people die at the same time, ain't two people going in the casket. You die by yourself. So to live your life for someone else is ridiculous. Well, I don't want to disappoint my family. Well, it's like being in an abusive relationship because you don't want your children to have two different households. It's like being in an abusive, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive. You're going to stay in an abusive relationship for your kids, but what they see is you being coward and beat down. And what kind of example are you setting for your children? Same thing when it comes to your dreams. You don't think your children can see that when you go to work and you come back home, you're absolutely miserable? I love work. If I never had to go home to make dinner, if I never had to give nobody no bath, I would be at work all day. I love work. That shit fuels me. It fuels me. I hate it when I ain't got no damn emails. Because I'm passionate about what I do. Though I don't feel like, I'm not the best real estate agent in the world. I don't know everything there is to know about international real estate or real estate in California. Like, I'm not the real estate guru, but I have a passion for people, and I want to see more Black people be homeowners. But that is my passion, and I pour into it, and it pours back into me. But too many of us are pouring into somebody else's dream, even though we have a talent and we could be pouring into ourselves. Oh, Calvin! Calvin said, Tayla, you are very talented. You inspire me. Thank you. I don't know if inspiration is a talent, but I do accept kind words because sometimes we as women, this is a conversation that I just had with a couple of my friends, like sometimes we as women don't take compliments. We're so used to, when it comes to the Black woman, Lord have mercy. If we are not the pillar of everything on earth, literally, call me God, baby, because I know my worth. We are the pillar of absolutely everything, and we sometimes beat ourselves down for not doing, like, we have a checklist, and if we don't check off everything on that checklist, we feel worthless. For those who don't know, that is worthless. That's like somebody who don't do nothing. And so when somebody gives us a compliment, sometimes we kind of like shield ourselves from this compliment because what do you want from me? Because it's hardly ever that a MF give us a compliment without wanting something in return. Whether it's a date, whether it's some pom-pom, we don't just are given things just to be given things as Black women. We're given things with the quid pro quo, what you gonna do for me, baby girl? So I accept that compliment. And a lot of us Black women need to accept that compliment. And sometimes it's hard because even when you accept the compliment, it be like, thank you. Oh, what up, shorty? You so cute. Smile. Why you ain't smiling? Because I'm not trying to give you an in for you to sit here and talk to me. That's the truth. That's the real truth. Because if I'm over here smiling at you, then you want my number, you want me to take yours. That's not where I'm at. No, thank you. You sitting outside the bodega with a Newport. I'm good. I'm good. So, sometimes in order to protect ourselves, we ain't got no smile. We ain't got nothing to say. We're not taking no compliments. Keep it moving. Do that little half smile. And keep walking. But that was, I don't know how we got to that, but here we are. Massachusetts reports 510 new COVID cases, and all of them came from Carnival. I'm just I'm being an ass on purpose. 510 new COVID cases, 32 new deaths, and this was on Wednesday, and this is nearly a 50% jump in cases over the last week. State health officials confirmed that another 510 coronavirus cases on Wednesday, bringing the statewide total to at least 129,753. Officials also announced that 32 new COVID-related deaths, bringing the statewide count to 9,242. Wednesday's data is based on 14,404 new listen, there's words I can't pronounce. I just leave them where they're at. Molecules, tests. According to the Department of Public Health, there are currently 438 patients hospitalized with COVID-19, included 89 people in intensive care. And so instead of continuously reading all of these statistics, all of these numbers, one of the things that I would like to do is pray over all of those that are currently in the hospital or at home that are battling this virus and the families that are being affected by those that are currently infected. Death is not easy to deal with. And as I've said earlier, it's weird for me to be an American on soil, but to be African in blood, and to know that I am not supposed to mourn for a week and go back to work like everything is okay and nothing happened. Where the rest of our cousins in Africa, the rest of our cousins that know their history here in America, honor, wear black for a full year, don't speak for a full 30 days, have reverence towards the dead in conversations and altars. And it's just something that is not openly practiced here in America, and it's actually shunned. I got a message, I don't know if you guys remember, on, was it Monday or Tuesday? We had the brujeria in here. Jeannie was here, and she was talking about black magic and being a witch. And I can't tell you, I got an inbox, people telling me that I'm going to hell because I'm over here fraternizing with the devil, which is hilarious to me because, baby, if you knew your true history, you would know a little bit about, witches and warlocks. You would understand that Merlin wasn't far removed, not in spirituality, but in gifts and talents from Jesus. And the fact that I could even make that two comparisons, somebody gonna be in my inbox talking about blasphemy. But when you do the knowledge and you seek wisdom, baby, there's more there than you definitely are educated towards. If you truly knew your power and knew all these things, what Jesus said, you can do all these things and more. My daddy might have a different belief, but what I'm not going to do is argue with my elders. He said, I believe, this is what I believe. I'm sharing what I believe, and you can believe whatever it is that you believe. That's perfectly fine, because when I meet my maker, that when I came into the earth, it was one. When I leave, it's going to be one. And when I meet my maker, it's going to be him, her, and I. Them. Because I was made in their image, so all of them are going to be there with me. We are coming to the halfway mark. We're about to get ready for this interview. There are so many news stories that I'm going to share, but we're going to share it after this hour interview with the Divine Nine. I am super excited. Victor! Hey, I did not know. Hello. What's going
on? Wow. This is like a person I know, and I'm super excited to see you. Hi.
I am blown away right now because I didn't know. I read it, but I didn't put two and two. Yo, this is really dope. So, Victor, would you like to take 5 seconds and let people know how we know each other?
Wow. So we know each other by way of a very series of crazy, unlikely events that was to happen. Tayla was a real estate agent, is a real estate agent. I had just moved to Boston, moved in with some people that I thought were my friends that really weren't my friends, faced some systemic oppression, some racism, and Tayla really took care of me and made sure that I got set up straight in the city, and I really appreciate that. Things have been going so well for me right now, and I'm here. So things have been going so well for me, so I really appreciate you for that.
I'm super excited because I know exactly what room you're in too. And it looks good. Like you transformed it and made it your own. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to have the rest of the Divine Nine join us, and we are going to have this dope ass conversation. I am super excited right now.
Yes. Ashley White. Hi, Lick.
Hi, I have an echo, so I'm gonna put my headphones in.
Yeah, I think it's
Let's see if that helps. No, still an echo.
Yeah, I think it's studio.
Oh, okay. I think the rest of the crew was like in studio.
Oh, they went.
Yeah.
Look at us.
My organization, we have strict rules around virtual and in-person programming. So like, yeah, we can't do any in-person programming through the rest of the year.
Oh, wow. I think I said that you know my organization.
I didn't catch that. What did you say?
I'm a member of Iota Phi Fraternity.
Oh, okay. All right. My dad is the Iota Phi Beta. Yeah.
Your dad is man.
My dad is old school, 74.
Very
old school. I tend to joke with him like, oh, so did your founders come up? Like how did this work? So.
I wish he had told me because I kidnapped a smaller sign like this. I would have brought that.
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
What's up, man? Terrence. Really? Oh, she said when she got to Atlanta, it was back when you saw somewhere. Got to New Orleans? What's COVID? What's that? That's not here. What did you think of the
debate.
Okay, you know, that was.
I thought Joe was going to rush across the stage and punch him in the mouth. Like, I'm talking about my son, dude.
That was such a low, but he kept it together though.
Yeah.
He held it and he came back strong with his answer. So yeah, that's something I was like, really?
So we're gonna use these mics, I guess, because we have so many. We can leave the door open just to have the air circulating a bit. Welcome home. This is our home. This is our free space to speak freely. You can say whatever you want to say. If you want to stay away from the F word, that would be amazing because we do have families that visit, that listen. But for the most part, we have free reign to talk about anything and everything that you want to talk. We have these two mics here. If somebody, Brandon, if you want, you can share my mic. Go ahead. So that's the DJ's mic, and I am unfamiliar, so I don't want to touch things I don't know what to do with. And we have Victor is here, Alexis is here, and Kathy is here, virtually. You guys want to say hi to everyone who's in studio? You can see them all.
Hi, everyone.
And we are streaming live, so everyone can actually see everyone except for Peaches. If you want to bring it in. You know what, Peaches, if you could do me a favor, just talk in this mic for me. Now say something. Okay, we'll leave it alone. The ABCs. So yes, I am not unfamiliar, but I am ignorant. So you will be teaching me as much as you are teaching them. And so I would like, when we come back on air, whoever wants to go first, you can go first. Who wants to come to a mic can come to a mic and introduce your name. If you don't want to say your last name, you don't have to. Your first name, who you represent, how long you've been in the organization, and what it means to you. And then we'll jump into the history. So I'll wait for Brandon to come in and then we'll start. And we're gonna do in studio first before we jump on live, okay? So Alexis, Victor, and Kathy.
For those that are virtual, maybe
Ingrid, come to this one. Just sing the ABCs for me. I want to make sure our volumes are good. And it's horrible. I'm so sorry.
Hello.
Go ahead.
What's up? Hello, everybody.
One more time.
Hello.
Yes, perfect. Miss Ingrid?
Hello.
Perfect. Super excited. We're going to go ahead and shut off that 4 because I have no idea how to work that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Come on, Brandon. You're going to be my co-host on this side. I'm still here, y'all. How y'all doing?
Where's the camera? Oh, there it is right here. Okay.
Brandon, we good? Or are we waiting?
We're good. Someone is lost.
Okay. So we'll just begin anyways?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got online people like that?
Yes, we do. Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. And for anyone who lives in the North, you are most likely unfamiliar with the conversation that we are having today. And so I just want us to be fully informed of how great we are as Black people in learning about Black Greek life. What does that mean? We're about to learn it. I am Tayla Andre. Behind me, we have, put it on your lip.
Take it down.
If you want to, yeah.
Okay. So I'm Brandon Tillman. I'm the financial secretary for Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Epsilon Gamma Lambda chapter, and the president for the Greater Boston National Pan-Hellenic Council. Thank you, Taylor, for inviting us. And
Exactly.
for allowing us to be here.
How long have you been in the organization, and what does it mean to you?
Yes, I have been in the organization for 17 years. I joined at the Zeta Alpha chapter, University of Missouri, Columbia, and I'm a number 2. It's important. No, but for me, it means true brotherhood. I do have 2 older brothers and 2 younger sisters, but to have brotherhood where I can go to any city, any state, any country, and all I have to do is just kind of look up not just my fraternity brothers, but any Black Greeks. It's like we're family, and it's just really good to kind of have that sense of connection. And also, especially as Black people, we don't oftentimes have any type of privilege. And so if there is anything that we could do to add to our privilege, and that's what this is, I'll take it. And so I'm just really happy to be a part of not just Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, but the family, the Black Greek family. And I'm just so happy to be here. And I'll stop right there. And let me know if you got any other questions.
Up next, we have.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kimberly Zuzwa, lovingly known as Peaches. I am the president of the Psi Iota Omega chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I am a 31-year member. I came through in winter of 1989 at Johnson & Wales University as charter member, and I love my organization because we're doing so much for our community. And as the first African-American sorority founded back in 1908 at Howard University, we have almost 113-year history of serving communities, serving women of color, and ensuring that our voices are heard globally, politically, as well as ensuring that the family is economically situated and foundated.
Okay. Come on, Miss Ingrid.
All right, good morning, good morning. My name is Ingrid Tucker. I am the president of the Boston Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I pledged in April 1987 at the lovely New Phi chapter, which is a citywide chapter in Columbus, Ohio. I then spent my senior year at Spelman, where I hung out with all my Eta Kappa sisters. Delta Sigma Theta means so much to me. This is my 33rd year in this organization, and what stood out to me as I was seeking an opportunity for extended sisterhood was really being about the business and making sure that it was an organization that was social action, was community related, giving back, doing all those things and making a difference. Less of us and more of the community. And so the sorority was founded at Howard University in 1913. And the whole charge was just to make an impact in the world, and that's what we're doing. And I enjoy being a part of a larger Greek family because we are all brothers and sisters, and we have a lot of similarities. And we also are working on behalf of the communities in which we live or came from. And so it is my distinct pleasure to be here this morning to talk about my sorority.
Awesome. Who's next? Anybody want to come to the mic? Come on. I love it. The man said, ladies first. Go on, mama.
Hi, I'm Kim Wilson, and I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority, Delta Omicron Zeta chapter. I'm currently their Tamias Grammatius, and I'm the representative to the NPHC. I joined my organization 35 years ago here in Boston, Mass. at Northeastern University. I tell people I'm an ultimate finer woman. I've been part of Zeta Phi Beta all my life. I'm part of a legacy. We go back to the beginning in my family. And I tell people, hey, a Zeta woman is a virtual woman. You know, what I've learned from Zeta Phi Beta from young to now is that how to be a leader, how to be a finer woman, how to be a finer sister, to appreciate the fact that, you know what, because of the ladies in Zeta Phi Beta sorority, I got a scholarship to go to school. And now I'm giving back, doing work in the community, getting scholarships for kids, and just helping out and making finer ladies. I always tell people the one thing that I've learned through my sorority is how to be a woman of class and distinction. That I'm not just, you know, some lady on the block. I'm a finer woman. And that Zeta Phi Beta sorority, this year we're having our 100th anniversary. We're having our centennial. For 100 years, we've been giving service to the community. Yes, like the rest of them, we were founded at Howard University, but we are the only constitutionally bounded organization with a male organization, the Gentlemen of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity. And this ladies of Zeta Phi Beta sorority are privileged to be walking hand in hand with them and the other Greek organizations through this. We work in areas of social justice, we work in education, we work in all realms of life. You know, we are ladies who don't mind going across the barriers. We just opened sorority chapters in Africa and in other Greek areas. I can also say that, hey, I was one of the few people who was in a youth organization in Germany. That's where I grew up. Ladies of Zeta Phi Beta are everywhere, and we're here to serve and help our community. Thank you.
I have questions, but we're going to reserve it until after everybody does their intro. Come on, gentlemen. Come to the mic.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Franz Pamphil. I am the president of the Epsilon Gamma Lambda chapter, Boston area chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I have been a brother in the fraternity for 19 years, having crossed at the Alpha Kappa chapter, which is situated at the University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Can we get you a little closer to the mic?
Oh, so sorry.
And what does it mean to you?
Well, so being a history buff myself and someone who was raised by a great father who taught me about history, I really need to understand who I was. And so you have movements coming after slavery, the Niagara movement, and so on. Alpha Phi Alpha was founded on the campus of Cornell University in 1906. What does that mean? The founders of of myself and Brandon's fraternity were sons and grandsons of those slaves. It was those people who put us on their backs. It was those people who put me in the position that I am right now. So as someone who's thankful and who definitely knows what they've done for me, I can go ahead as a president of my chapter and be grateful and thankful of doing events like the voter registration, Hopeless People is Voteless People, go to high school, go to college, Project Alpha, March of Dimes, so many more so many more that we can do for this community. It's all about the community. So that's what it means to me. Yes, it's a brotherhood. Yes, it's an organization, but it means to me the people. It means to me the brotherhood. It means to me the Black community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well? Yeah. All right. Hi, my name is Emmanuel. I'm a part of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the Chi chapter. I am a Spring 20 initiate, and I serve as the pole mark of the Chi chapter, the undergrad chapter, citywide chapter for the Boston area. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated was founded January 5th, 1911, on the campus of Indiana University, Bloomington, in the heart of the Ku Klux Klan. And for me, what that represents, it shows is that our founders wanted to find a place where they could gather together, work together, and not only that, but also protect each other from everything that they were facing. And that's kind of what led me to want to join being in the undergrad, because I saw the work that the brothers were doing, I saw the way that they bonded, and I saw the way that they supported each other. And especially for me, coming with my background from, I would say, a private school where I was surrounded by a lot of people who didn't look like me, especially coming into college, I saw how no matter what you aspired for, no matter what you wanted to do, the brothers pushed you. One of our main goals is achievement, honorable achievement in every field of human endeavor, and that's what every brother strives to do, and exactly what I'm aiming to do with the rest of my life. So thank you for having me here today.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Kyrie Blackwell.
I'm a member of Eta Phi chapter, currently the public relations chair of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated was founded on November 17th, 1911 at Howard University as the first black fraternity founded on all-black campus. We are all about manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. And what Omega means to me is friendship, fellowship, camaraderie, and service. We're here, especially in the Boston area, Eta Phi chapter, putting on these mandated programs, voter registration, handing out masks over the summer, just assisting the community in any way possible. So please reach out to us at etaphiqs.org for more information.
Hello, my name is Terrence Lewis. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, founded January 9th, 1914 on the campus of Howard University. I am the vice president and former past president of Zeta Kappa Sigma chapter. I pledged here 37 years ago at Boston University, Zeta Chi chapter. What Phi Beta Sigma means to me, it's a mission-driven organization founded on the principles of brotherhood, scholarship, and service, with a motto of culture for service and service humanity, and that speaks to me. Originally, our fraternity was founded because in the past, African Americans didn't have the opportunity to go to college, and so our mission was the brothers that did go to college were to take that knowledge back to the community and uplift the community. That speaks to me directly. I come from a family of service, community activists and service leaders, and that's it.
This is beautiful. So my first question, let's bring Victor, Alexis, and Kathy into the conversation. You guys can hear me? Okay, go ahead. Y'all can speak.
All right, I'll go. So, my name is Alexis Smith. I'm a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. We were founded on November 12th, 1922 at Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana. The only of the historically black sororities to be founded on a predominantly white institution in the heart of Ku Klux Klan territory. You know, the aim and the mission of Sigma Gamma Rho is greater service, greater progress, particularly through education and community service. So what does Sigma Gamma Rho mean to me and kind of why I am a part of it? And really it's about the collective strength of our membership and being more powerful and giving back in our communities, other than the impact that I could have on my own. So we are leaders in service and education in both the US and globally. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Lucas. I'm the president of Psi Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and my soror, or my sister Peach's organization, from an overall or international perspective. So what I will share with you is a little bit of understanding of why, there are two presidents of Alpha Kappa Alpha in the Boston area. And actually there's three of us. Not here today is Angela Hugerbrook, who is the president of another chapter. And because our organization is large and continues to grow, we have the ability to have chapters that are geographically located in Metro West and Greater Boston and in the South Shore and the islands that represent the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And we also have undergraduate chapters. So Psi Omega, we represent 3 undergraduate chapters at multiple schools throughout Massachusetts. So there's that perspective about the organization. It's the ability to go where you live, implement programs and activity, and participate in your community. I think what's important to me, sistership, leadership, and definitely membership. I don't think we have been able to grow since we've come here without really living those areas of focus for our organization. I came into the organization in 1987 at New chapter at St. John's University in Queens, New York. I continue to love and do the work as an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman. My chapter, Psi Omega, will be celebrating 95 years of service to the greater Boston area. And we look forward to continuing on the work of service to all mankind, whether we're in person or virtual. It just doesn't stop.
Hello, my name is Victor Terry. I am the secretary of the Delta Omega chapter of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated here in Boston. Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated was founded September 19, 1963 at the campus of Morgan State College, now Morgan State University, by 12 men. I myself, in a spring 2011 initiative from Jackson State University, the Delta Psi chapter of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. What Iota means to me. So I joined Iota Phi Theta almost 10 years ago in Mississippi. So if you know anything about Southern culture, when we go into HBCUs and HBCU campuses, it's not, are you going to pledge? It's what are you going to pledge? So looking at every organization, when I learned the history of Iota Phi Theta, I knew it was for me. The fact that 12 Black men got together during the height of the Civil Rights era and said, we see something that needs to be filled, and we're going to fill that void that needs to happen. That stood out to me. And 10 years later, I am still very happy and excited to be a member of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, particularly with our current social political climate. We get memos and notices saying and encouraging us to go out, participate in the social uprisings that are currently happening, wear your letters, represent, stand up for your rights, and be productive members of the Black community. So I don't think I could have chosen a better organization for me than Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated.
I just want to add that the amount of Black excellence in this room and virtually is so beautiful, and I am honored to be here. Mind you, it's my show, but I'm honored to be here. So one of the first questions that I have is, why so many? I think I heard 4 different organizations being founded on Howard University. Why not just say, collectively, we have one female sorority, one male fraternity, and we are going to just unify ourselves one together? Anybody can answer. Go ahead, Peaches.
I think you should also look at the whole Black community. You know, you don't have just one type of individual, one type of religion, one type of characteristic. And so therefore, the plethora of us doing, a little closer. The plethora of us, all of us doing work that caters to particular individuals, and also it's our styles. Yes, as you've heard the commonality, we're all about service, right? But it's how we do it. Who do we cater to? As some of you who may believe in the Bible or what, but there's a word that says, there's so many, the field is out there, but the laborers are few, right?
Harvest is plenty.
Right, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. So you need more hands to do the work. Not just one organization can do it. It takes many of us to do that.
I'd like to add, actually, Peaches is my sister.
Yes.
Delta Sigma Theta was founded at Howard, clearly after Alpha Kappa Alpha. And like Peaches said, it is a matter of how you go about your business, right? It's not necessarily that we're competing with making sure that we're uplifting the Black community. There are a number of ways in which that can happen. And when Delta Sigma Theta was founded on January 13th, 1913, it was really about the movement and what social justice and public service was something. And that's not to say that all of us are into public service. It's just what level of public service. We have different ways in which we approach it. And I think for me, it's just, this is me, every day. And we're all doing that. But I think to Peaches' point, it just depends on how you do it. And as educators, we know that there are different curriculums and there's a different pedagogy, right? When you approach your curriculum. And I think that pedagogically, we're different, but we're very much the same in terms of the end curriculum.
I feel like you wanted to say something, Peaches. Go ahead.
No, I thoroughly agree with my sister over here. You know, there are different learning styles, right?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
you know, which organization can appeal to that particular learning style to help move that community forward, to move that political agenda forward, you know, to move the global agenda forward. And so that's why we're all here. And what I'd like to say is a lot of people think that there's competition, especially within the sororities. Come up here to the mic, sister.
I'm so happy to see my sisters, you know?
And it's not like that because, you know, we are unified in the work that we do.
That's right.
But we just may do it a different way. And we also come together. I know we have a very strong D9 relationship, Southeastern Mass, where we've come together and we've collectively done voter registration. We've collectively focused on political issues, right, within our civic areas and representatives coming together. So whatever you all see on TV out there, you know,
Not true.
it's not true.
Not true.
Not true, because we come together because bottom line, we're all sisters, we're all women of color, and there is work to do, and we don't have time for the drama.
We sure don't. I echo that. I echo that, and got to see it both on a historically black campus and also at a predominantly white campus. That we are sisters. At the end of the day, we need to each one teach one, each one reach one, lift each other up, and that's what it's about. It's not about competition. Like Peaches said, it's, you know, there's strength in numbers, and the harvest is plentiful, and the laborers are few. We got a lot of work to do.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so in Missouri, I was actually taught that Black Greeks were not allowed to join white organizations before, right? And so we had to do our own thing. But white fraternities and sororities, they actually used competition as a good thing because everyone were, you know, it was a good way of competing on, you know, some type of service event or fundraiser. And so it was actually a good thing to have some competition because it was all for the betterment of the community. And so I think that there is something about good competition, but not necessarily hating on each other.
Right.
So if we can just use the competition to make sure that we're, you know, bettering the entire community, we just got to make sure that we keep that as the focus.
So I just really quickly, because it's 11:57, and I know that we were going to do 11:30 to 12:30, but if it's okay with you, I'd like to extend this to 1, because I think it's going to take a while for us to get through this. Okay. You got to go?
Well, it's a couple of people that
if you have to leave, I completely understand. If you can stay, I would love that as well. So as far as service, I'd like to start with the history of the organizations, and not just individual history, but so I went to school in Birmingham, so I am familiar a little bit. I could tell you homecoming is absolutely amazing. I have never experienced anything like that in my life.
Right. That's true.
Why? So before we get into the history,
it was culture shock. I went to a PWI, and one of my best friends went to Hampton University, and she invited me down. She said, "Come down for homecoming." And when I went down there, I'm like, "Wow!" First time I had ever seen Gucci boots. But, but y'all can talk about that. But it was a culture shock, but I loved it.
The vibe was crazy to me. It blew my mind, the amount of love, and to see a bunch of black people and not one fight, not one argument, not the police nowhere. It was just, why is it that the North does not experience what is natural in the South?
Well, you know, I'm from the North, so let me just say I'm born and raised in Boston, and my parents are Southern. So as far as our education was really important to us, we knew about the Greek life because of, you know, a lot of our family members are actually, you know, members of AKA and, you know, and Alpha.
So you guys are sisters in real life?
Well, I'm just saying a lot of my family members are members of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And so I was exposed to that growing up. And for my family, it was you know, you are a part of an extended family. So I wouldn't categorize and say all Northerners, because I'm from Boston, went to HBCU, married a Kappa from Morehouse. You know, our kids, all of our kids, girls went to Spelman and Morehouse. We get it, you know, but it starts at home. And so I think that's the piece is, you know, how much of us embrace, all of my brothers and sisters here, embrace their African-American roots. That's important. You know, even when we so-called made it, it's not about making it, it's about helping others. And so I do think it depends on what community you come from, because I'm definitely from Boston, and I couldn't tell you how much I love the Black Greek life and just being a part of HBCUs and changed my life. I mean, I went to a PWI and spent my senior year at Spelman, changed my entire.
I wish I could rewind life right now and just make different choices.
I went to an all-girls school, and I was the only woman on my campus that pledged a sorority. And everybody thought I was going like crazy, you know what I mean? But I told them, I said, you know what? I said, it's a way of life, you know, that I was raised that, you know, I'll be honest, I thought all girls wanted to go join the sorority. You know what I mean? I was raised that way. And that wasn't the fact that my mother was a Zeta, you know what I mean? My aunt was a Delta, you know, my other aunt was an AKA, because I was exposed to all sororities, you know. It was just which one was I going to join, you know what I mean? And they didn't even see it as a sorority, it's the fact that what organization do you want to belong to? You know what I mean? I always remember my aunt who always used to come and support my mother at her sorority events all the time. You know, my other cousins, you know, and I always laugh when I was in college because I always went to Kappa events. My cousin was a Kappa. He's still to this day Mr. Big Kappa. And I didn't see it as like, you know, oh, he's a Kappa. I saw him and his friends, you know, because I always thought one of his best friends were a Kappa to find out he was a Q. And I was like, ooh, you know. But it's like, you know, it's how you're raised. You know, if you're raised with these people, you know, even to this day, I always say to this one gentleman, I call him my second father, and I found out he was an Iota, and I was like, I don't really care what you are. You know, you're my father, and the events that you took me to, I saw how that strong Black men did community service out there, you know, went into schools, tutored kids, you know, and that's how I was raised. And I said, if I ever have children, my godsons, I will raise them the same way to be that, you know, hey, it's not which organization you belong to. It's the fact that, you know what, you're doing something for the community.
So I know, go on, Alexis.
Yeah, I would like to answer the question around the experience being different in the North. And particularly because I joined Sigma Gamma Rho on the campus of the University of Massachusetts, Amherst in the spring of 2003. France and I were on the yard together. And the experience is very different than on an HBCU campus, but it's different on a smaller scale because we were family. We collectively, across all Greek letter organizations on that campus, got together much like the HBCU experience, but much tinier. But we were also able to create a community in which we could lean on each other. We can share our experiences and fight together. So yes, the experience is not as big as on a historically Black college university campus, but it is still this collective, fun, service together type experience, just different. There's not as many of us, obviously, so you don't see, we're just not used to seeing talented Blacks in those numbers up north. But I think once you get in the organization and even how we treat those who come into contact with us, the experience is still very similar.
Can I also add to the north-south, or the difference between PWIs and HBCUs? We noticed a couple of years back that there was not a lot of awareness of, you know, campus life at a HBCU. Many of the members, like has been stated, if you had a family member, if you're a legacy, your mom, your uncle, your sister, your brother has had the experience, then in your household you might have grown up with that. But we found here in New England, it just didn't happen unless they were part of like the Kappa League or the Boston Pearl Foundation or an organization where at a younger age there was some connectivity. So over the last 2 years, we've partnered with the Boston Public School System to get in their career fairs, and not just to talk about the alumni organizations or the schools that we've attended, but also to showcase what Black Greek life was. And so we're touching a larger audience now, and I think as we continue to share our experience, and I think Senator Kamala Harris has everyone talking about what's the Divine Nine. As more people become aware of the experience, I think it will get broader. But we definitely, I think, Peaches said earlier, we want to make sure that we're sharing the authentic experience, not the television created hyped experience. More about our service and more about the work that we do in the community. And while stepping and strolling is fun, but that's not only who we are.
Go ahead.
I'd like to add one. So I guess I'm unusual. I was never exposed to Black Greek fraternities before I became a member. And I was lucky enough to be in Boston in the early 80s when Greek life was huge. I mean, I was a stepmaster for the state of Massachusetts for Phi Beta Sigma for 4 years. We never lost to anyone. Want to just be clear about that. But we stepped out in front of in the quad at Northeastern University, and when I tell you it was standing room only, we had people climbing trees so they could see the show. They were in roofs, on roofs of the building. I mean, there was easily 8,000 people standing in the quad, and it was free, and it was amazing. I mean, people put a lot of time into it. I think that, also I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the country and see Greek life everywhere. Of course, the North is never going to be able to compete with the South, but I think that you have to understand that Greek life is part of the HBCU sort of marketing strategy, if you will. That they sell an experience, not just an education, but an opportunity to share values, which is a different sort of experience than you get in a PWC. It's mostly a churn and burn. It's like, look, as long as you can pay your tuition, pay your dorm fees, and graduate, you're fine with us. They don't take the extra effort to cultivate the minority experience like HBCU. So that's fundamentally the bigger difference. I mean, you go down south, and I've seen AKA lines of over 110 people, and I remember thinking, I was on a line of 3, and I remember thinking, how do you remember everybody's name? How do you remember everybody's birthdays? How do you remember all of this stuff? So again, I think at the end of the day, you're talking about, 2 different strategies. And I think that that's really the big difference. When you're somebody who went to a PWC and you go down north, of course, there's a culture shock. You're like, I think I might have did something wrong because it's just so live compared to where you were. But I think the other thing is, Black Greek life in a PWC is really about camaraderie, survival, and then when you think about the organizations that were founded on predominantly white campuses, as well as members who joined organizations on predominantly white campuses, first thing is survival. We're going to get through this together. We're going to develop a culture, and we're going to make sure that we graduate, and we're also going to fulfill the mission of our organizations. So again, the difference is, to put it succinctly, is it's a different strategy, but the mission is essentially the same. It's around brotherhood and sisterhood. It's around community service. It's around education, and those are all usually those are 3 principles of all of us.
Tayla, if I may.
Yes, so Victor, I do know you have to go soon, so go. I'd love to give you the floor for a moment.
Thank you. So first thing that I joined my organization in Mississippi at Jackson State University, and then moved to Boston last year, but moved to Providence, Rhode Island 7 years ago. I've seen a little bit of the two. So I went to Jackson State for my undergrad, and I went to Providence College for my graduate degree. So a PWI. So I did the opposite. So went from an HBCU to a PWI and did Greek life in both places. I can say that at my HBCU, yes, our whole entire campus is a Black student union. It was amazing to go and be taught by professors who were Black and see all Black music being played on the yard and fried chicken day in the calf, and all that stuff was amazing. I loved every minute of it. But myself and the men, it was two other gentlemen that joined my organization with me at the time period. I was the number one. That's very important. So I have to share that as well. But while we didn't necessarily have racism on our campus to worry about, when we left that campus and we did road trips from Mississippi to Atlanta, from Mississippi to Birmingham, or from Mississippi to New Orleans, we made sure we was together. When we went out around Mississippi into places that weren't Jackson, that weren't necessarily an urban hub for us, we made sure we was together. We made sure that if I was to break down on the side of the road in Pearl, Mississippi, if I have an Iota Phi Theta tag on the back of my car, not only will Iota stop to help me, an Alpha will stop to help me, a member of Omega Psi Phi will stop to help me, a Kappa can stop and help me. It was a way of denoting that, okay, you have a family and a support system, not only on this campus, but outside of this campus. That translates directly to the North. When I moved here, I'm a teacher, so that's actually where I have to go. I have to go teach a class in a minute. But the way I got into education was I went to Rhode Island College, and one of my frat brothers was there, was like, hey, I hear you're trying to get into education. Do you want to come to my school and get an internship with me? And I've had Alphas and Kappas to help me out up here, and it's way smaller, but the heart is just as strong. The idea behind each organization is just as strong as if I was in Mississippi at a HBCU, and I really appreciate that, being a member of Iota Phi Theta.
Community work that we do. The brother just talked about the collective support, but what we fail to talk about is the economic power that the D9 has. Now, if we go back a couple of years ago, when that crazy show was on TV, you know, that reality show about the sororities and all of that stuff, we came together and we got in contact with Coca-Cola and we pulled back. How many episodes was it, 2 or 3? And people fail to realize that. Understanding that for membership, you have to be college educated, right? So when you're college educated, you're working, so therefore your economic power, your monies, right, are there. Now that we come together as a collective voice, and you have to look at it too, and I'll give the mic over. It's strategic what Biden is doing in regards to Kamala, because he also realizes the political push and the political power and the economic power to help him get elected. Yes.
That's right.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, so this is Franz, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I'd like to echo a couple things. First is history, right? And I said that before, and it's perspective. And so back in those days, when you looked at Alpha Phi Alpha being founded at Cornell, Sigma Gamma Rho, and some of the other organizations founded at Kappa Alpha Psi, founded in white schools, is to actually get the organizations off the ground in the North. This is in the early 1900s. HBCUs are just getting founded, but many of them are 50, 60 years old, but now it's time to expand. So if you go to the South, that's where our numbers were. We expanded, and that's where the culture was. Our culture was in the South during our expansion, but also remember that there was a black flight in the 1860s and 1870s, right around the Civil War time, because right before the Civil War time, trying to get slaves. So a lot of those black folks up there were Southerners who were in their culture, who were trying to reach back down to the Southern roots. So the reason why there is such a big culture of fraternities and sororities in the South is because that's where our roots are. That's where our culture is. Right. And so I appreciate the organizations founded at Howard because they expanded that. And that's why we're Divine Nine. That's why we're all together collectively. Right. And so we have to continue in 2020, when we talk about perspective, to keep, like my sister said here, use our economic power, use our voting power, answer your census, make sure that your money goes a long way. And that's what we're trying to do.
Is there anybody else that needs to leave in the next 15 minutes?
I do. So I just was going to.
Absolutely.
I first wanted to say to my sister Kathy on the line that I agree that exposure early is great because not everybody does grow up having someone in their family who is a part of the Divine Nine. It's important. And as Deltas, we've been doing programs, Delta Gyms, Delta Leadership Academy, where we start in elementary, middle school, and high school. But I do remember growing up in Boston, being in high school, being at Northeastern, because my brother-in-law was in school at Northeastern, watching you all. But that was something, and I think just the collective unity that you saw there was so empowering. And finally, the piece that we touched upon, but education. We are all college educated, and education transforms lives, and so it's important that we all use our collective brain power, our finances, our whatever influence that we have to continue to mobilize this country, which is completely divided right now. And as long as we stay united, I believe that there's so much more that we can do. So thank you for this opportunity. I wish I could stay, but I am a head of a school and I got to get back to school.
And that's my fellow number 4.
That's right. That's why we were like, yes,
just to let you
You
know,
guys
there
keep
is
saying
no squad
numbers.
without the quad.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's right.
What is the importance of numbers? What is it? Everybody keeps saying like that. That's important.
Yeah.
Tell them what the importance of numbers are.
Of course, they get the cue to come to the mic when it talks about the importance of numbers.
Number 1.
I am a number 1. I am the Ace Dog 2010 Brogan Gamma chapter. That's Southside Chicago. Shout out to the 10th D. Shout out to the Qs. The importance of that number has to do with what I said earlier about camaraderie, fellowship, and more important, I would say, what the bros call uplifts in sponsorship and mentorship. Right, in order to serve and to advance colored folks, right, which is the purpose of all of these organizations, you have to be on one accord. And you get assigned a certain letter in order to be on that accord, to understand how to move collectively, efficiently, and with the proper initiative, drive, and on the same page. So as part of learning how to do that, you get assigned a number so that you can go ahead and perform great and noble deeds within the community.
How would I receive a number?
So I think, the other thing, just to quickly.
Well, first of all, can I be honorable, though? Can I just be honorable D9 in the room today?
Numbers were a way of stripping individuality. Essentially, numbers were to say, your individuality doesn't matter at this point. You're becoming a member, and part of becoming a member is understanding and immersing yourself in brotherhood or sisterhood. So they strip away your name, they give you a number so that you can start thinking in a collective manner. I mean, of course, you had to identify the individuals, and the way you identified the individuals was with a number. And so essentially, what we wanted to do was make sure that this collective, and they called it a line. If there was only one, you were called a point. And so essentially what it was is, a line has a beginning and an end, but everything in between is the same. And so what they wanted to do is get you to think alike. You never said I, you always said we. It was a collective sort of mindset. And this is how you galvanize an organization and a culture. Even chapters have their own cultures within an organization. And I think that, like, one of the things that my nephew always asked me, said, Uncle T, if you were on another campus and there were no Sigmas, would you be something else? Maybe. I think, again, this is a way of immersing yourself in the culture, immersing yourself in the organizational culture, the chapter culture, and then, figuring out how to move in this organization, but also stripping away this individuality, this notion of individuality, so that you can start thinking collectively. Because when you start thinking collectively, now it's not just you, it's us. And then when you think about the community, it's we. It's all of us together.
That's right.
And so again, you know, the numbers is a way of stripping away that individuality. You're not Peaches, you're not Kim, you know, you're not Brandon. You're number this, number that, of the same line.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, of one accord.
That's right. And for those of you all out there who are listening and say, oh, having to strip individuality, I just want to let you know the military does that. Yes. The Army, the Navy, especially the Marines, because now you have to come together in a platoon and work together and listen to each other. So I just wanted to stop that
But
thought
we need
out
to be
there.
clear on that too. It's the individuality that's stripped away is a temporary thing.
Right.
And the importance of that is so that you can start thinking collectively. It's not cultish.
Right.
It's more, you know, it's creating an environment where you can learn more and learn better.
Right here, right here.
I'm sorry, a principal and a pastor, I would say, Jesus was the greatest servant leader. And he came to this earth and made himself the least. And I think that there's a part of humility that we all have to experience in order for us to be used according to his will and his purpose. And so the humility part is, it for me and all of us, I think, really allows us to be the leaders who we are, because you have to be the least of them to be the most. And collectively, we're the most. Individually, we're the least.
And that's the word. The key word I remember when I was being initiated in the organization was humble.
Yes,
You know, you got to be humble. And they figured out ways to make you humble if you didn't want to be humble.
So just to step in, I guess, as being fresh on the yard, I am the ace club of my line of 3. And so for us, you know, for me, it meant setting the pace. It meant, you know, being the first person to understand how to do something, but also helping those behind me. And then for my dudes, he was the bridge between me and my tail. You know, he understood when I needed help. He understood when my tail needed help. He understood how to make sure that we connected if any times, you know, we were off. And then my tail, he was the one that, you know, he would just take the rest of the load off, you know. He's the biggest on the line. You know, when it comes to like service, you know, picking up the heaviest boxes, you know, showing up earlier, like he was able to do that. So it really teaches you how to not only, like a lot of people said here, it teaches you not only how to operate together, but when it comes to running a chapter, when it comes to doing business, it teaches you how to do that now. So currently it's 2 people in my chapter, me and my dudes. You know, I'm serving as pole mark, and he's serving as vice. And so what that means is when I have to step in for a lot of meetings, I have to handle a lot of the business work. But when I need help, you know, he steps in. When he needs help, I step in. And it really teaches us how to work together and work as a cohesive unit.
So I know, Emmanuel, you have to leave.
Yes.
And so we are going to take a group picture. And while I'd love it in front of the spark right here if possible. And then, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I love this conversation. And I wish Alexis, Kathy, and Victor could have been here. I know you guys had to do what you had to do. I would love maybe in another 6 months we can have this conversation again, because I want to inspire more young people to. This is actually beautiful. Oh, look at that. Hold on, let me take a step back.
I'm not sure if you're able to do on those that are online too, if they can throw it up, if you're able to do it on the screen.
Can y'all throw yours up too? I'm gonna make y'all big. I'm gonna take me out of the screen. For those that are currently listening on radio, I apologize. You were like, what is going on? I can't see y'all. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. Kathy, we can't see you. Throw it up, Kathy. Yeah, there you go. Oh, so they're throwing up, yeah, there you go, Kathy. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. So I would like for everyone who does have to leave, thank you. If you can stay, I'd like to speak a little bit more about the history as far as, let's talk about civil rights. We're in the second wave of civil rights. It was nice to meet you, Emmanuel.
Take care, Emmanuel. Nice meeting you.
I'm super excited that you guys are now on like high school campuses and in college fairs. And that's the bag by the black woman, right?
No, this is by Basquiat. This is the coach and Basquiat relationship.
There is a black woman who creates bags that the writing on the bag looks similar. Yes.
All right, Kathy's going to take it over and represent Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you, Peaches. Thank you, Emmanuel. Who else is leaving?
Nice meeting you as well.
The principal leaving? The principal and pastor?
Oh, yeah.
Ingrid, you're leaving? Ingrid, I want you in my life. I do. I need you in my life.
Not too far from here.
Okay.
These are my brothers.
Okay.
These are my brothers.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay.
And to compound, to build.
It was a pleasure.
And as a pastor
Yes.
and a principal, I have questions on education and I have questions about Jesus. So we
You
can.
need to make sure, listen, hit me up.
I got Brandon.
Brandon has,
Here, hold on. You just gonna take my phone and put your number in it.
Tayla, can I do a quick plug?
Right here, right here. You absolutely, any events you guys have coming up, anything you want to.
So for all of the women of color out there who are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, I'd like to invite you to come on out to the Center for Women in Enterprise. We're having our Women Business Leaders Conference from October 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we're launching the Women of Color Business Summit, which is going to be on October 7th, specifically focused to women of color entrepreneurs and business leaders. Go on to www.cweonline.org/WBLC.
And Kathy, if you could add that to the chat, that would be not the private chat, but in the comments, so that those that are watching can have access to the link. She got you. She got you. I'm loving the energy. Brendan, you gotta leave me too? I do. You do? Okay, so we will build on this. Who gets to stay? You'll stay? Okay, great. Great. Take a seat. Kathy, do you have to leave? Alexis, do you have to leave?
Not right yet, but in about 15 minutes.
Okay, so we Alexis for a little while, keep Kathy. So what I want to, you can't go nowhere, huh? So what I want to talk about is the history in the civil rights. And a lot of people don't know that you all were extremely instrumental into the liberties that we get to experience today. So maybe not you personally, but your founders. And so I'd like to speak on that a little bit. Whoever wants to go. Just.
I think I'll start because I'll kick it off for the NPHC in general.
A little louder.
And I'll go to civil rights, right? A lot of folks may not know the famous assassination picture of Dr. Martin Luther King, where they're pointing off of the balcony right after he was assassinated, trying to figure out who his assassinator was. All of the members in that picture were members of the National Pan-Hellenic Council. And I think that's very, very important as we celebrate this new movement, right, in this new era of civil rights here in 2020 with all the social injustices that have been occurring to us this year. I think it's important to know that one of our most heralded leaders had the NPHC by his side at all times, advising him. And to answer your question earlier, why are there so many organizations? For that very reason, because there are so many different perspectives to solve what we call this great race problem.
And I'd like to add to it. In my introduction, I talked about the Niagara movement. And that was 1903, 1904. So you had individuals like W.B. Du Bois, who was very instrumental in getting the black thought up. And so, and as my brother just stated, you have leaders all the way to the civil rights movement who were in that picture. You have individuals who were not just actors and athletes or whatever they might be, but they were also politicians who were trying to get a perspective into our mind as in politics. So one of the founders of the Epsilon Gamma Lambda chapter, Senator Edward Brooke, he was a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha, but he was the first black senator in Massachusetts. So the history and the civil rights movement was very important coming from these organizations. And so, and if you look at that picture that my brother talked about, look at Reverend Jesse Jackson, one of the closest persons to Martin Luther King Jr. Andrew Young was another one. So these organizations bring about this black thought of uplifting, of getting ourselves to where we're trying to go. And it's very important that we as a black community understand our history, understand where we come from to know where we're going to go.
So I want to say, I think when you talk about the history of civil rights and really the role that black Greek-led organizations play, I think the biggest thing is we were a breeding ground for leadership. When you start thinking about, your life as a collegiate in an organization like ours, you get taught a lot of things. Project management, leadership, how to organize, how to structure events. So these are breeding grounds for leaders. And it's no surprise to us that a lot of our black civil rights leaders were members of black Greek-led organizations, because more than likely they garnered a lot of their skills being developed in organizations like ours. So, I mean, again, everybody has their own reason for being there, but it's no surprise to us that, the leaders were members of black Greek-led organizations, because that's one of the things that we do. It's actually part of the culture, developing leadership and brotherhood and scholarship. There's a pecking order even in chapters. And I think, to get a bunch of men to agree, or women to agree that they want to be led by you is sort of your first foray into leadership. Just like in sports, captains of football teams and team-based organizations where you're the captain, you're usually chosen by your peers, and it's your first foray into leadership. And so for us, it's not a big deal. It's not surprising. It's part of the culture.
Thank you. I'll just echo the point that was made about developing leaders, because just to be very transparent, I've talked to several of my older brothers who reminded me that part of the intake process was literally developing you to endure racism. It was getting you ready for folks to slap you in the face, folks to pour hot soup on you, call you all types of names. And so it literally, like, if you're being developed to be a civil rights leader, that's exactly why I think there was a point where 90% of the civil rights leaders were members of National Pan-Hellenic Council. That's part of the development process.
So some of the things that you said, being called derogatory terms, having being slapped in the face and food poured on you. So is that where the idea of hazing really came from? Was like to get you ready for what society is going to put you through?
Not really.
So there's an idea that hazing is this abusive process that you go through. I'm only speaking from the outside, from the entertainment version of what it means to be online. I'm not speaking.
So just to echo what Brandon said, and then we can talk about that subject. If you listen to the Honorable Congressman, rest in peace, John Lewis, and if you watch his piece, he talks about the sit-ins in the South, about they're training them how to deal with people at the lunch counters, calling them the N-word, calling them certain things, pouring hot coffee on them. That's what he's talking about. In terms of when you go to the hazing and all that stuff, you're talking about, and you just said the word, entertainment, right? So I was, for example, my wife and I were in South Africa earlier before the virus. And we had so many beautiful black people there, but they saw what on television, what they thought Black Americans were. We have this culture of entertainment where we're talking about, oh, this is how hazing looks. This is how what all this stuff looks like. It's a way to glorify something. But in actuality, for us members who actually had to go through our own initiation, it's nothing like that.
Right.
And so, if folks really want to talk about the glorification and the television and the entertainment, they could do that. They could do that all they want. But it's really about service, about commitment, about brotherhood and sisterhood, and what we do for the community. So all that stuff, and I'll let my brother talk on it as well. But from my perspective, it's a glorification of entertainment.
I'll just add one thing that everybody's pretty been echoing, and I'll just hit it directly, right? Especially given our current times, that number. First of all, I think I can say all of our organizations are non-hazing organizations. Now, first and foremost. However, this haze that you speak of is just dealing with the realities of being Black in America, and as my brother put it right here, we're training leaders to advance folks to become excellent at leading others against that fight, against that white haze, that white gaze. So if there's a haze, it's the haze that we all live in as Black Americans, and the initiation to become a leader within these organizations prepares you for that. So it's very similar. Being a leader of a Black organization is just being a leader of Black America, and that inherently is a haze.
Can I add a little?
Hold on, Kathy. I'm going to pull you up.
Okay.
We got to do a little finessing. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, I just want to make two quick points, and one in regards to the civil rights in our organizations. So I truly think a lot of times we think civil rights and we think generationally, 50s and the 60s, but if you even look at us today, we're there still. We're still fighting for the injustices that we face, and generationally, it's led from a lot of our campuses. It's the youth, our college students that are out there walking the first steps in the new obstacle or challenge that's been thrown to us. And when you think about it, we're always looking for equality, we're looking for justice, we're looking for economic empowerment, and that leads me to say, from a civil rights perspective, we're always fighting for that. And my chapter wholeheartedly feels that with our brothers and sisters, we'll be able to get that and seek that. But again, it's what we're going after. So, this year with the pandemic and financially, a lot of members and a lot of our community has been laid off or furloughed, and the streams of income aren't there. And because the Black dollar in our household is not equated to the dollars that are in the white household, we have to come up with other ways for streams of revenue. And it's interesting that because of what we've learned in these organizations, we're able to go out and write the business plans to start up something, to create a way for us when there are walls against us. So I want to talk about that. And then I also want to talk about the process. So the entertainment value around hazing. You heard today that many of us have been in the organization for decades. It's a lifetime commitment for us. Unlike, other organizations where you join, you spend 4 years and you graduate, and you might come back for an alumni weekend and see some of your frat or your sisters. But for us, we've been doing this for many, many years. So when you look at a process that in some cases it could take a week, a month, 2 months, a semester, that is such a small part of who we are and what we do as members of these organizations that have been around 113 years plus, 114 years, 95 years, 100 years. I think that doesn't sell a lot of commercials. So of course you go after the smallest segment of the bad part of the organization. But again, as the brothers have stated, a lot of the leaders in the civil rights organizations have the Black Greek lettered organizations in their portfolio of letters after their names, you know, whether it's PhD, MBA, AKA, AFIA, DST, that's who we are. So I definitely wanted to share that.
Part of my my mission is to increase visibility. It's not something that I'm used to being in a large city like Boston, where you don't see a lot of Black Greeks out and about, and so I'm just trying to do my part to make sure that we're more visible. And so we do have a monthly newsletter that goes out. I'll share the information so that you can share with your constituents. If anyone wants to know what's going on every first of the month, there's a newsletter that goes out about all of the upcoming NPHC events. And I know I wanted to highlight one collective event is the 1619 project, because it's not just the National Pan-Hellenic Council, but many Black organizations across Boston and I think Massachusetts as well, as we try to get ready for the upcoming election. There's campaigns for us to phone bank, reach out to the community, and also figure out ways that we could divide ourselves up across the area to protect the polls on election day. So I'll send you all that information as well so that you can share that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as my frat, Brendan Tillman just said, me as president of Epsilon Gamma Lambda chapter Alpha Phi Alpha, we have a whole initiative on education, as my sister stated, what they've accomplished. Our education activities committee is going to reach out to numerous schools, from KIPP Academy to Mission to English and other inner city schools, where we're going to go in and we're going to have give perspective on even things like coding or any other type of STEM. And so I think you're totally correct in terms of the visibility that we all have. I think that's something that we need to work on. One of the things that I'm working on is getting our visibility out there in our social media and digital media. And also one thing that I want to say before I continue, I'm just thinking about it. My organization, I know other organizations have scholarships for high school students going into college. And so one of the things that I definitely want to make sure is that your audience hears that our organizations have scholarships. I'm representing my other organization, I have my Mason, Prince Hall Mason mask on, and they also have scholarships. And so we're out here not just giving our time and our bodies, but we're also giving out money in scholarships. So we're there. And I think to your point, though, and to my brother's point, we have to assess it, we have to see what the issue is, and we have to go forward and fix it. And so if there's a visibility problem, then we collectively have to work on that. And our brother Tillman here, as president of the NPHC, has given us that boost collectively, not just in our individual organizations, but collectively.
So I first want to honor the work that is being done and has been done over the course of decades. But I would also like to ask, knowing the collective power that we have and what we were able to achieve in the first wave of civil rights, I guess, I mean this in no disrespect, but why not, knowing the importance of how it was to be on a historically black college or university and to see that culture and then having to go back into the world that doesn't love you and doesn't respect you, why not start from the grassroots of, like, in different cities, starting like elementary schools or preschools, and like the National Pan-Hellenic Conference having, not council, just starting somewhere and saying, you know, in this town we have a preschool, we have a middle school, we have a high school, and like starting somewhere where we can be us always. So not just like the college that was started over 100 years ago, but saying, you know, now, like, what else can we do further? Like, as far as the collective Divine Nine, creating more entities for us.
I think we're doing it. We're now expanding where we are in the South Shore. We see that there's areas that, hey, we need to get out there and get organized. And if I'm not wrong, we are now going to have a South Shore group out there. They're going to work in the South Shore, telling people about, hey, our Greek letter organizations, the Divine Nine, and doing community service. I know last year they had a book drive at one of the schools out there, and we got books for the students in the school. So we have seen that we need to expand our horizons. You know what I mean? Expand where we are. I think we're also going down to Bridgewater, if I'm not wrong, down in that area, Bridgewater State College, University, State University, and we're saying, hey, this is a group of people, we're the Divine Nine, we can get our organization set up, and we're going to expand. So that community in that area. So I think we've identified that, or we're working on identifying that and saying, hey, we need to expand, we need to make a bigger presence.
I think when you talk about a push or experience, there's a value in a diverse experience. We need African American men and women to come from predominantly white institutions. You know, if we kind of put everybody in a similar bucket, they're going to get the same experience. We need a value of experiences, which is why it's good to have, leaders from HBCUs as well as PWIs. As far as starting schools, while I think it's ambitious, some of our organizations have already founded schools. We opened up a school in Ghana. So I opened up the first KIPP school in Massachusetts. I was a founder of the KIPP Academy Lynn in Lynn, Massachusetts. So again, it's not a matter of, there's several ways to skin a cat. I think at the end of the day, you do what you're comfortable doing, you do what your resources allow, and also you go where the need is. I want to backtrack a little bit on the publicity question, because that's a two-way street. When you think about media right now, in this era, we're competing for, there's heavy competition for eyeballs more than ever before because of the internet. So I think at the end of the day, we have to make a decision. Could we put our resources more into promoting ourselves? Sure. But I would liken that to drinking a beer. It's empty calories. Whereas I would rather dedicate our resources more to helping the community. Now, with that being said, we did blessings for the homeless, where we put together kits and we went out into the homeless community and gave out bags around Thanksgiving to make sure that they had bare essentials, toothbrush, comb, soap, and some people even put like snacks and even money in these bags. Other things, making sure that our kids have good role models to look up to. You think about the Kappa League, you think about the Sigma Beta Club that Phi Beta Sigma has. There's all these organizations have these movements to integrate these kids. So while a school is great, there's already a system there that helps develop that. I think that our collective resources are better used if we bolt on to an already established system. For instance, I think that if you went into a school that had a high dropout rate, a high school that had a high dropout rate, and said, look, we want to go in and start a program that gives kids hope, give kids ideas. When you think about the difference between an average African-American student and any other race, you're really talking about the difference in experience and what they're exposed to, what they're getting through osmosis. If your parents are a lawyer and a doctor, then that's fantastic. That's a great experience. But there are a lot of kids whose parents are administrative assistants and janitors, and they don't get the same experience. They don't get the same worldview. They don't sit around the table and talk about accounting or business or these kinds of things. And so one of the things that we try to do as a collective, and we all do it, I'm not saying just Phi Beta Sigma, we all do it. We go into these communities and we expose these kids to things that they probably would have never been exposed to if we hadn't come along. And I think that that's a better use of the resources than sort of focusing on publicity. While publicity is nice, I think that, our mission is really driven to help the community in different ways and more uplift the community and less on, promoting ourselves.
Go ahead.
I'll just say one more thing before it looks like you're about to wrap up. I think each organization also, and I think to answer your question directly, it's a matter of strategy and approach, macro versus micro, right? I think a lot of our organizations come with that each front, teach one mentality, which isn't going to solve every systemic issue tomorrow, right? However, over time, we feel like if we pour into these individuals, there can be some systematic change eventually. Now, again, how long would that take? We don't know. But again, we're here to keep going with that charge. And to that point, there are different initiatives that are going on. Again, 1619 is a great example of initiative where we are collectively coming together to try and move the needle in systemic change.
So we do have a couple comments that are currently on. So it's 12:55. We do have to wrap up. Brandon, let's work together. Let's bring this back full circle. But go ahead, whatever.
No. That's just what I was going to say. I was like, this is definitely a longer conversation, and so we could definitely schedule a part two, and that's not a problem. And I just wanted to thank you once again, truly, for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
We're eternally grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. So one of the questions that I would like for you guys to ponder on into the next time that we come, I guess My overarching question is about infrastructure and how the D9 could have built an infrastructure at whether it's was 60 years ago or whether it's today, but build an infrastructure that we can, not just one-off events, not just like a community event or a care package or just like an actual infrastructure, a roadmap for success for us. And so I want to be clear that this is not just a question that I've had for D9. This is also a question that I've had for the Masons and the Eastern Stars, and a question that I have for the Malcolm X. Nation of Islam. It's like, why not collectively build an infrastructure that can better transport us as Black people onto that road of success? And so I would love for you guys to marinate on that and see, and maybe that wasn't the idea or the process or, then, but something that can be discussed or, planned out for future. I thank you guys so much for your time, for being here, for your knowledge, for your wisdom. I love you. I thank you. I appreciate you. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I love every single last one of the viewers, the listeners. If you have any questions, they will be back and we will continue this conversation. I still have so many that I want to ask, but for another day and another time. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Please remember that if you are looking for information about credit cleanup, TaylaAndre.com. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, I am Tayla Andre, 617-459-0041. That is my direct number. And as far as the book, Finally Home, a step-by-step guide for people preparing for first-time home ownership, if you want to buy in the next 10 years, the book is for you. It's not because you want to buy next week, next year, next month. It's for people preparing your taxes, preparing your credit, preparing your savings. It's getting you ready to give you the knowledge that you need to make informed decisions. It's a 70-page book. I'm working on the audio book. But that is located on the website as well, TaylaAndre.com. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Mwah.